one of the key things that I could do to contribute to the people. And so I began a little bit of counseling, and I began to give speeches and across India, and I got a very warm response. So basically, I realized that the problem that we have is a lack of awareness and education on the subject matter. Very few people know about emotional intelligence. What is it? Why is it important? And how to utilize it? So my task is really, it's a challenge because it's so hard to educate people when they don't know what this is about, and to get their attention and have them participate and then ultimately utilize the knowledge base, emotional intelligence. What is it? It's basically our common sense in a way, and we all have it, but we don't realize it, we don't use it. The reason being that we don't know what it is. We don't know that our EQ or emotional quotient is many, many times more important. We don't know, for example, that our EQ uh, grows with us exponentially, whereas our IQ remains constant most of our lives. So, the main areas that I'm involved in presently are education and in psychotherapy. I was surprised to find that a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists in India are totally, they're not, that EI, emotional intelligence, was not a part of their curriculum when they were going to school and getting their 6 year PhD degrees. And so I have a vast network of people on LinkedIn, and surprisingly, almost half of them are psychotherapists, which is very reassuring to know because emotional intelligence is the key knowledge that they need to have in order to do proper counseling. That, of course, is in addition to the education space. Today, very few school counselors have any understanding of emotional intelligence. They don't know that if a child is not emotionally healthy, that they can never be academically successful. And neither do parents, neither do the principals, and so on and so forth. So I've spent quite a bit of time in the education space as well, and I see there's a tremendous need. Now the issue is, how do you know and measure your emotional intelligence? How do you know if you're high in it or low in it? And for that, there is a standard procedure. It's a EQ assessment, profiling, and evaluation test that anybody can take, and that has a very interesting algorithm, and that essentially scores your EI, your emotional intelligence. I highly recommend that because now you know what are your strengths and weaknesses, and without that, you really don't know. The parent, for example, if a child is unmanageable, the parent, the only recourse that they have is to take the child to a psychiatrist. Well, that's not really a good idea because these psychiatrists, they psychiatry is an excellent science, but it involves the dispensation of medicine, of pharmaceuticals, of prescription medication, which I'm not so sure is essential unless it's an acute case of a mental health situation. Our parents, our teachers, our students should all learn the basic fundamentals of emotional intelligence, take a evaluation test. Now, once you have that test, then you know what are the strengths and weaknesses, as I mentioned. So any counseling that you do, whether and the parent can do the counseling too, can be done on the basis of that rather than guessing as to what is wrong with the child. So as a starter, that's where I'm at, and I'd like to continue on. AI has an escape velocity that is faster than the speed of light. What I mean by that is that once you begin to utilize emotional intelligence in your daily life, the learning curve is exponential. It goes very, very fast. And a lot of people are unaware, for example, that we have multiple intelligence. aptitude, logic, memory, all these are multiple intelligences within our emotional intelligence. So if we map out these multiple intelligences, we can zero in and know exactly what is going on inside our head. And so that is something that should be done again, and it will yield tremendous benefit. AI is a great way of learning yourself. That a lot of it is introspection, is learning about yourself, and so it's really it comes to play when you know uh, the what and the why of things. What is going on around your life? Why is it going on? AI is really a way. It tells you how to think, not what to think, and then we go on further. Now, one of the purposes of this webinar is to give everybody, all the attendees, enough information and incentive to want to avail of our training and certification program that we have on emotional intelligence. AI actually teaches us to how to manage our successes, our failures in life, um, and and also uh, how to manage our emotions, basically. Now we can start from the beginning. What are emotions? Emotions are nothing but feelings that have turned into thoughts, that have turned into emotions, that basically requires some kind of action if needed, and which then result in a reaction. So it's a straight line function. A feeling becomes a thought, becomes an emotion, which makes us do something or the other, or say something or the other, which then results in somebody responding equally and accordingly. So that is what emotional. It is all about ourselves, the way we think, and excuse me, I just okay, and it's a way of understanding yourself too. Emotional intelligence also forms our personal psychological safety network. We know what we know about ourselves, and we can protect ourselves in a way from encroachment by other people. Now, to be emotionally smart is not it's not a big deal. It's not nuclear science. We just have to follow certain procedures to enhance our emotional intelligence. It's a way of upskilling our faculty. It's a way to be inclusive to our environment. And it also helps uncomplicate our mind, our thoughts, take all the cobwebs out of out of our mind and make life simple and happy as it should be. Our emotional intelligence is influenced by the environment, the customs, and the social values that we live within. It's amazing how the outside world affects the way we think, and so it changes, it varies from city to city, from country to country. It's very interesting. It also is going to be, I believe, the next disruptor in the education system as we know it today. By disruptor, I mean that just the way we conduct our schools and colleges and classes and curriculum is all going to change because, as you may know, the UGC, the University Grants Commission, has just issued a directive to all schools and colleges, universities in India, basically uh, telling them that they have to have at least one trained certified counselor in emotional intelligence, and that they must have at least one course in their curriculum directly teaching about emotional intelligence. So the handwriting is basically on the wall, and I'm glad that the government of India, under its new education policy, has decided to take a proactive stance. And this is a group that I have formed on LinkedIn. It's called the Emotional Intelligence Alliance. Please go to LinkedIn and look up Emotional Intelligence Alliance, and please join the group. Wikipedia, if you will, open source platform on emotional intelligence. Within 3.5 to 4 months, we have over 3,000 people from across the world that have joined the group. And if you see the daily posts, uh, on the group. You would see a lot of activity, people contributing their thoughts, articles, videos, what have you. And pretty soon, I hope that this group will become one of the premier knowledge exchange platforms on the subject matter worldwide. So I'm very happy about this, and I think for all of us that want to promote this concept of EI, I think we needed a solid platform, a solid base where everybody could share whatever they wanted to freely, and hopefully very education-wise, very informative. So I've been with Ernst& Young, the international consulting firm, for many years in Los Angeles, and I'm a member in various other organizations. So I guess we can move on from here. So basically, that's it. What I want to emphasize is that EI, emotional intelligence, will be based on experiential learning and not the textbook approach that we currently have. And it improves our level of confidence. It strengthens the empathy neurons in our mind so that we can. It's all about empathy and compassion, really. And once we master that, then we'll see a tremendous change in our lives. And uh, all I want to stress to everybody is that please use your good offices to make sure that parents and teachers and principals, they all include some serious direction and serious instruction on emotional intelligence in the schools and colleges throughout our country. In addition, I would encourage the people that set up the curriculum for advanced degrees in psychiatry and psychotherapy and psychology to also make this a part and parcel of their curriculum.